Role-playing in D&D is supposed to be immersive, but let's be honest. For a lot of us, it just feels like awkward improv. I've been playing for over 20 years, and I used to wonder, why is this so hard? I've learned a lot along the way. So today I'm going to show you 4 simple techniques that transform my roleplay and don't require any acting skill. I'll show you how to avoid common mistakes, how to make distinctive characters, and if you stay until the end of the video, how to make roleplaying feel fun instead of forced. And to achieve this, we're going to compare nearly identical examples where small differences create dramatically better results. Think about the last time you asked someone for directions. Have you noticed how some people ramble about every landmark they can think of, while others focus precisely on what you need to know? Same basic interaction, dramatically different results. Effective communication always has a clear goal. When we speak without purpose, we create noise rather than meaning. And when we do this during roleplay, it makes it feel forced and awkward. I call this the information versus intention approach. And it's the first point we'll focus on today. Let's look at 2 nearly, emphasis on nearly, identical player interactions with an innkeeper. I approach the innkeeper and say, "Hello there. I'm a traveler from the north. The weather has been quite pleasant lately. I'm looking for a place to stay. Do you know of any bandit activity in the area?" Versus, I approach the bartender and say, "Hello, friend. Looking for a decent bed for the night. I've been on the road too long. Word is, bandits are causing trouble nearby. Is that something I should worry about?" The difference seems subtle until we'll look closer. The first example is an information dump without clear purpose. We talk about players' background, weather, lodging, bandits, all jumbled together. On the other hand, the second one has focused intention. We use a strategic approach to get specific information. The content is nearly identical, but the approach makes one a lot more effective than the other. Let's see what happens next. The innkeeper mentioned bandits, so I ask, where are these bandits located? How many are there? When do they attack? Has anyone tried to stop them? It sounds like a mechanical interrogation. Versus, he seems concerned about bandits, so I slide a silver coin forward. For your trouble. Just need to know if there are certain roads I should avoid. This is how subtle shifts in approach completely change the quality of roleplaying. So, to roleplay with intention, 1, before you speak, ask yourself, what's the one thing my character wants from this conversation? And then you focus on that single goal. 2, you choose an approach that naturally fits how you'd pursue that goal in real life. So, bribery for information, flattery for favors, or maybe directness for simple requests. And finally, 3, you keep your character's statements strategic and purposeful. Instead of asking multiple direct questions, you embed your request within a natural exchange, like sliding that coin across the bar while asking about roads to avoid. This makes your role-playing feel authentic rather than like an interrogation. By the way, the one thing that makes role-playing easy is to play a great character. So if you want to avoid what I call the 7 deadly sins of character creation, click the link in the description to get a free guide that will help you create the best character you've ever played. Okay, so now that we've made your roleplay more intentional, how do we make it unforgettable? So have you noticed how some people blend into the background at parties while others stand out without being loud? It's often because memorable people have distinctive patterns or traits. And when we apply this idea to role-playing, it becomes the difference between forgettable and distinctive characters. This is the generic traits versus specific patterns idea. Think of your characters as having communication fingerprints versus vague personality types. Anyone can say an innkeeper is friendly, but that doesn't make them memorable. It's their specific patterns of speech and behavior that make them come alive. So, time for another versus example. Let's compare. The innkeeper is friendly and talkative. He says, "Welcome to my inn. What can I get for you today? We have good food and drinks here." Versus, the innkeeper greets you with a broad smile. "Ha! New faces are good fortune. What brings you to our humble establishment? Whatever your story, we have food to match your mood. This makes our NPC a bit less vanilla already, but where's the pattern? Well, let's see the development. When you ask about local troubles, the innkeeper's smile tightens. Fortune favors the prepared, friend. Those who venture into the western woods find their stories cut mysteriously short. Fortune and stories came back, and right away, the innkeeper feels a lot more convincing. This applies to your character as well. To create effective patterns in your own role-playing, 1. Give your character one specific verbal pattern, connecting concepts, a favorite phrase, or speech rhythm, for example. 2. You use this pattern consistently across different topics. And 3. You vary the emotional tone while keeping the pattern intact. That last point is crucial because it allows the same character to express different emotions while remaining instantly recognizable and avoiding you getting bored. In our example, an innkeeper who always connects fortune and stories, keywords, becomes distinctive, whether discussing happy events or warning about dangers. The pattern creates continuity without requiring voice acting. Because, let's face it, I'm a terrible voice actor. But something is still missing. How do we make roleplay emotionally engaging instead of just distinctive? Think about 2 ways someone might tell you they're upset. On one side, you have saying, "I'm angry with you," and on the other, slamming a door and speaking through clenched teeth. So which one has more impact? Telling versus showing is a classic piece of writing advice, and it can directly apply to role-playing as well. It can completely change the way emotions are conveyed in role-playing, making them feel authentic rather than artificial. So let's try a new comparison, shall we? The guard is suspicious of you. He says in a suspicious tone, "What are you doing here? This area is restricted." Versus, the guard narrows his eyes, hand shifting to his sword hilt. "Interesting place for a stroll, wouldn't you say? This area doesn't welcome visitors." These deliver the same basic interaction, but one tells while the other shows. The second creates a more vivid experience without requiring better acting. This technique applies everywhere. Here it is in a merchant interaction. The merchant is nervous about selling you the potion. She reluctantly says, "This potion costs 50 gold. Versus, the merchant glances over her shoulder before sliding the vial across the counter. 50 gold. Never saw you, never sold this. We clear?" To use the show-don't-tell approach effectively, 1. You never directly name the emotion your character or NPC feels. 2. Instead, you describe one simple physical action that shows that emotion. And 3. You let dialogue imply feelings through word choice and subtext. Once again, this isn't about complex acting. When you demonstrate emotions through actions and subtext, you create space for other players to engage with the character you're playing emotionally. It works for both PCs and NPCs. But roleplaying isn't just about what your character says. It's about how they exist in the world. And there's one small detail that can make your character instantly memorable. Think about people you know well in real life. I bet you can instantly picture their distinctive gestures. Maybe your friend who talks with their hands, or that colleague who adjusts their glasses when they're thinking. When we apply physical mannerisms to roleplaying, it creates instant recognition without requiring any actual acting. You don't need to perform anything physically. You just occasionally describe a consistent action that becomes your character's signature. So once again, let's compare. My character is intimidating the guard. I tell him, "You'd better let us through or you'll regret it." Versus, Alberiel cracks his knuckles slowly, one by one, while maintaining eye contact with the guard. "You'd better let us through or you'll regret it." This small difference actually has a huge impact. The first example could be anyone making a threat. The second becomes distinctly Alberiel's way of intimidating. The mannerism itself conveys additional meaning. It's a deliberate intimidation. Let's see how consistent mannerisms can evolve with different situations. I ask around town for information about the missing artifacts. Versus, I approach the merchant, absently twirling my coin purse as I inquire about unusual customers. Later, when questioning the nervous innkeeper, I'm tugging at the purse strings more aggressively. And then finally, by the time I confront the thief, the coin purse is completely still in my clenched hand. This simple mannerism evolved with the mood. This technique creates instant character recognition and develops additional layers of meaning without requiring complex acting. So to use physical mannerisms effectively, 1, you choose one signature physical action that fits your character's personality. 2, you describe it briefly during important interactions, but not every single time you speak. Don't make it boring. And 3, you vary the execution slightly to reflect your character's changing emotional states. This isn't about performance. It's about creating a consistent mental image. Your rogue might always flip coin when thinking. Your wizard might adjust their spectacles. Your barbarian might crack their neck before making decisions. The power of this technique is that it creates a shorthand for your character's presence. When players hear Alberiel cracks his knuckles, they immediately know what it signifies without needing elaborate descriptions or voices. But these examples still feel intimidating to improvise. Okay, well, start small, Think of them as frameworks that give you concrete patterns to follow, not performances. The principles remain simple across all role-playing. 1, you speak with intention, not just information. 2, you use specific patterns, not generic traits. 3, you show emotions, you don't name them. And 4, you use physical mannerisms to add depths. These small shifts create role-playing that feels authentic without requiring any special talent. But now you might be wondering, these techniques help me roleplay better, sure, but what if the character itself is the problem? Click on this video next to discover the 7 deadly sins of character creation, and I will show you how to build characters that are actually fun to play, easy to roleplay, and designed to thrive in collaborative stories.